Hi, my friends. We are going to talk about carrots. You know, so many parents really want their kids to learn to love carrots because they're a great vegetable to start with. They tend to be a little sweeter than others, and they're loaded with nutrition, but they're also kind of hard for little kids to chew. First thing I want you to think about is when you are thinking about these big old beautiful carrots, when it comes to any child under the age of 4, they really need to be cut appropriately, and that means in little matchsticks or little slivers like this. Remember, for a child under the age of 4, their airway is about the width of a garbanzo bean. So you don't want kids to bite off a big chunk because it could easily get stuck in that airway, and that's really frightening and of course not safe. So keep it matchstick size. But even when it's this size, it can be tricky for little kids, even up to age 4, for one specific reason. Carrots or any other sort of hard vegetable like a raw piece of broccoli, when you bite into it and you chew on it, it doesn't have a lot of moisture. And because of that, it makes it really tricky to gather into one little pile, or we call it a bolus, on our tongue and swallow. So after we chew, we gather it up with our tongue and we swallow back. In order to help kids make that little pile or bolus on their tongue, make the carrots a little bit moister, but still keep the crunch. How do you do that? By blanching. So blanching is when you just take a handful of carrots, try to make sure they're cut in about the same size for even cooking, and just toss them into an inch or two of boiling water. And then 1 minute later, you just scoop them out and put them in an ice bath. So in other words, a bowl with ice water in it. It'll stop the cooking immediately. You can drain it off and then just pat them dry. You can serve them at room temperature. You can serve them a little bit warm if you want, but you can also serve them cold. And because of that, they store really well in your refrigerator for 3 or 4 days. That blanching will add just a little bit of extra moisture that makes it easier for the kids to gather up and swallow, and it still has crunch. Okay, your third option, and you could certainly include it with the blanching, is a dip. Now, many of us think of dips like ranch dressing, ketchup is a popular dip. But you know, you can also take the simplest thing like a seed or a nut butter and just add a little bit of, say, banana puree to it, and you've got a great dip. You'd be surprised how many kids like to dip carrots into a nut butter or seed butter. It's not my thing, but little kids seem to like it. Finally, the fourth thing I want you to remember is that sometimes kids need a little bit of practice in how to gather up those little bits of carrots that end up down here in what we call the lateral sulci, or that gum area. Well, even with your blanched carrot, they might get some down there. So one game that you can play with kids to help them learn to really lateralize that tongue and go deep into that groove that you and I can do so easily is called Mouse in the House. So your mouse is your tongue, right? And you just say to the little kids, watch the mouse in my mouth house. Close your lips and watch. Have them watch that little mouse, it's your tongue, in your mouth house and see if they can do it too. Do it in front of a mirror. Practice every day. Make it really fun, and the kids will get better and better at sweeping down into that lateral sulci and gathering up that food in order to chew and swallow easier.